Kuzampo, you're watching Bhutan This Week, our weekly news magazine program. My name is Bubkam. Our top stories this week. A week-long second nationwide lockdown starts from Wednesday. Chubachu area in Thimphu declared a red zone following a cluster outbreak. And teaching to continue for grades 9 to 12 amid the nationwide lockdown. Bhutan goes under a second nationwide lockdown. According to the Prime Minister, Dr. Lote Sring, the National COVID-19 Task Force decided on this to prevent the community outbreak of the coronavirus from spreading further.
The Dodul Kadam di Nami Simika Chube Jenny, Taringa Chacham Nimchi Sundu Nabe, the Mionga de Rimuche, Tangire, the Na Chundi Wengaching in Papilla. Dani Pabicable, the Pingi Tuki Tage di Sukara, Gupi Jupi, Nachelushide, Seshunibila, Dani Benedigita, Tabra Minu, the Missigi Semka Tukadim Mapabru, Da Nabale, Dorungachi, Geliongi, the Dodul Kadam Gilerimchi, Gum Matsu, Ransu Yasi, Gutsura Tsugop Tesi, Seshunibila.
The Prime Minister said to make the lockdown bearable, the districts will implement the zoning system. In Thimphu, it will come into effect from tomorrow.
Tera Tungun Matochip, the Tiamangima, Tab Dedo Tadigibe, the Chi Chamada Seshunibila, Tamarangi Zasenalu Nejiti Miba Dudeba, Matoba Duni, Kokab Lejim, the China Jujubalu, the Chi Chi Tunjo, the Jimmy Worship Tipchi, the Dachikalu, the way Chutari Kadibe Dubs, Nimsum Lahata Musegi, Lojure Labbe, Nijiti Rangina Babe, Lokchina Dusobachin, Zasa Dekam, Nijiti Kenigi, Yankaime, Seshunibi.
Dr. Lote Sring also urged the public not to stigmatize those infected and their family members.
Min now Sau Zuka Niji Pop Dumigi, Nebdisulu Legim Bego, Semidi, the Chunale Tebe Tuntum Zumekoi, Seshunibila, the Taregi, COVID-19 de Niji Digibe, Nalapa Dunta Chingichilu, Soda Tenina, Tingachigi, Mika, Pandigibe, Jonna, Majonna, Dusugama Segi, Sagela Dubekablu, the Shuma Subigi, Tamlabdi Agibo, and Salimitu, Seshunibila.
The Prime Minister assured that the country has enough testing kits to cover more than 100,000 people. Arrangements are also in place if the need is more. Sunampem for BBS News.
Following the cluster outbreak, Chubachu in Thimphu is declared a red zone by the National COVID-19 Task Force. Over a dozen of COVID-19 cases were reported from Chubachu area. Health Minister Tasho Dichunwangmo said zone demarcation of rest of the areas in Thimphu will be carried out in the coming days, depending upon the results of the contacts traced so far.
Tetari ngachigi toro tani mikechi gi dewa yumi gi mingom tele khonda chika gi primary contacts labmela kungi pincha sacha nadu te ani disu ngachi tari churu ejibedo ani beuda te ngachi gi shese shunila ta pen pebe shuwa chinta ngachara ma chuba chugi sago naledi jankhara achi mambe thya so be benidigi te minalu achi nyanka bom unidigi te sago di mapping usen be te dida dawe ngachi gi nalepha takshe be tai be te sago di so anebe te inkena baji demarcate se anizum beon se shunila.
The Health Ministry will also be initiating mass screening in Thimphu. The Health Minister said the Ministry's Technical Advisory Group and the zoning team are working out a detailed plan.
Tatogi nijidi halam mass screening di beong se shunila. Ta mingom chim gara beonga te chim rere nale mingom rere beonga yan ngachara building rere nale mingom rere beonga te ani di te tato ngache nalu te zoning team selap me tenga chara Thimphu di zone be sodigi te ani gi team da tenga chara na so ilenka gi tag team di te chika de be ta to na te chaji chamdira yu se shuni ta khondu su gi kara chaji du su chamcha be udalu te nimchi ni gi nang konara tenga chi gi nalema te gadebe benna katile gutsun na gi te nyesu du su te miselu pyung se shuni la.
To contain further spread of the virus in the community, the ministry has set up 2 additional flu clinics in Thimphu, 1 each in Taba and Olaka. Pupgame for BBS News. As more positive cases are detected across the country, the Health Ministry is urging people suffering from flu-like symptoms to visit the flu clinics. Timely testing will help in tracing contacts and effective interventions. However, one cannot simply walk in, overcrowd and overwhelm the flu clinics.
People are advised to call the hotline numbers 2121 6060 or 112 before heading to the flu clinics. The hotline officials will verify and advise accordingly.
Our hotline staff can ask them their basic signs and symptoms, and that call history will be verified by the police while traveling to the flu clinic.
In Thimphu, following the cluster outbreak, the Health Ministry established 2 additional flu clinics which are operational beginning today. The one at Nima Higher Secondary School in Taba will target the residential areas in North Thimphu, and the other at Chan Rifel Primary School in Olakha is for South Thimphu. The existing flu clinic at the RBP ground below the National Referral Hospital will cater to the residents of core areas of the city. The flu clinics will remain open from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m.
So in order to ensure that people don't mix from one place to another, and also to avoid going from one place to another, and for the convenience of the public to visit the flu clinic based on their locations and where they stay, so we have established 2 more.
The Health Ministry, through its official Facebook page, advised people in the capital not to overwhelm the flu clinics as mass testing is scheduled within a day or 2. Those visiting the flu clinics should strictly adhere to the ministry's safety protocols of wearing a face mask, washing hands, and maintaining physical distance. As of today, there are 54 flu clinics across the country. Sunampem for BBS News.
People must continue to follow the COVID-19 safety protocols more strictly. According to the Prime Minister Tasho Dr. Lotus Singh, using the Drug Trace app and wearing a face mask are the best defense against the virus until a vaccine is made available.
The Prime Minister said contact tracing for the 25-year-old woman who tested positive for COVID-19 in Thimphu on Sunday was quicker and easier since she used the Drug Trace app. The woman scanned at various locations such as the National Referral Hospital and the financial institutions she visited.
대루 봄디 모레 가티 주로 또 모기 카기 뿌라디 퓨라 마퓨리세 데벨롭데라 니바소단 모라기 쭉디디 수나루 뮤캉디 수나루파 멘카디 수나루파 가테라 주로 된 둑테스 데랄린 탑노 세슈니벨라 다날레nga 지기입지 할람지 디 모기베 모기 둑테스 랄린 탑수기 사고넬레라 미자당 업주디칭가 지 달레다순지 세슈니베.
According to the Health Ministry, although the lucky draw event during the National Day boosted the registration of Drug Trace users, business establishments and agencies should remind the visitors to scan the app or maintain a visitor's logbook always. Currently, there are 300,000 registered users of the app, and so far, over 2 million scans were completed across the country. The Health Ministry also stressed that wearing a face mask is now more critical than ever. It is one of the most effective ways to protect oneself from COVID-19.
모카티 주로 카기 뿌라디 뿌드라 되지 이셀라 카기 뿌라디 퓨라 마퓨유세 다니비니디기 카기 뿌라 레지메 뿌 되되 이마친 모기에 니지티 제밀루 마케오 세슈니비 니지 라로에 니지티 마토봉 세슈니비라 카기 뿌라 가라기 뿌 되바친 자찰레 깁주 장아 굽주데치 니지 마토바자니기 고갑 야신 베수 세슈니비라.
The Health Ministry recommended washing hands with soap and water frequently, practicing proper cough etiquette, and maintaining physical distancing as other preventive measures. Meanwhile, the ministry ruled out the rumor that the government is running out of isolation facilities. A detailed plan on isolation facilities is already in place, and the ministry is comfortable with the number of such facilities. Sringdandup, BBS News.
Over 100 vegetable retailers will cater to thousands of Thimphu residents. The Agriculture Ministry has identified a large group from the Centenary Farmers Market who will be the sole vegetable suppliers during the lockdown.
Unlike the initial lockdown, this time people will get to choose vegetables and livestock products of their choice in their respective zones. According to the Agriculture Ministry, officials are identifying sources from across the country.
저는 템포 톰네날 배진 해만만 로베 그냥 지기 디나로 다마다마가 정카진 칼레 취니라 정카케 지나래 정카기 땡기디 같이 같이 내비나 정카나 고브데 같이 내비나 따스기 실로 데디는 한조리 템도 집야진 할로리 템도 집야진 데디 템불로 게니기 차지들 선도 예수시니라.
20 ministry officials across the country will coordinate with wholesalers and supply vegetables to Thimphu.
대 팀블리 힙지 대대 안지기 범사점일로 되니 대 범사점이기베 렌 범사점이기 렌신다 대 범사점이기베 대아저라 대침대 전소리 미기 총괄에 세체로 둘라 총괄 미장업주 미기 날때 총괄 지자 주소대지 저기 저시 디 총점이메 대디주나 템플 베니시슈니 대말란람베즈에기 차지 시슈니.
The ministry will also ensure timely supply of livestock products along with export and import business.
나나리 말라미디주 대피게 갑자기 요신다베 덤빌비니기 차지디주 가르조디 요시슈니라. 다토기네 네컴 엔탕나 배워진 지기 책성단미디 대신 넘신 미 젤루디 요시 대 젤루디 책성단미디 가데다다 답디토토조 가데다다 잠토토조니기 대 차지디 덤디비 대중에 까나미도 티디베어진 대야마 도들베니디주 각던 맵베 대 donka jenkage takalo ten sabdo chue chin te donka jenkalo te ro na se leje sokpin de tudu donka chigi na malam mewa chin sosono le lende te dina ka debe kenna tenken de ka debe na te de ne se diskara dulinde be te ke chop ja chube tabdibe de yesi shunila.
But everyone is urged to follow COVID-19 health safety protocols while they go out to shop. This is Sringdandu for BBS News.
With the nationwide lockdown resulting in the closure of schools yet again, the Education Ministry directed districts and Tomdes to maintain the continuity of education through online teaching and learning. The Education Minister said day scholars will continue online classes via Google Classroom, while boarders will continue to attend classes in self-containment mode.
The Education Minister said that the syllabus coverage for classes 9 to 12 is 95% complete. But despite the lockdown, teaching and learning will continue.
lalu zongkhagi the godin ge tholebe the khora the dodul kakdom mabeo nge malera the lopthu chube di beru gerpa gi lopthu chube di beru the kho jungba bera chu hostel na do kho arrange bebe chu lebe chue bo nana ra chu ta hani bebe the kho the nana ta self contained mode na ru ta kho ne bera beni gi ta che chai shuni be the thomde na le pha yumidi gi theka abduludi nga che ne be the jungba be the broader na jane gi the ko ka be mindu ta hani bendigi kho chu da ji ka din tha chi de ji gi de se chi me the hani yongdel gi tholebe the hani be go su ni gi the hani nga chi shi chuk be shuni be la.
The minister said students who are COVID positive need not worry.
Mausara lalu lobrim chuni bagi alusime ba the kho achi sage landing uta da mola ani beni digi the kho chulu the nga che khatole counseling lejim be de le kho lu daro digi sule be the kho lu lebe chue dewa thapchu de thapchu be de le kho chesin chu lapchu ni ge den lu kho lu sien jang chu ni ge den lu the kho da chi ga dewa thapse be de ngara ne bera kana di.
If the pandemic situation does not improve in the country, examination for classes 9 to 12 in February and March next year might be postponed. Sunampem for BBS News.
Just after the transshipment of goods at the mini dry port in Fencelink was mechanized, the importers couldn't bring in goods and commodities as usual. It has created hue and cry among the importers.
Usually over 60 vehicles come in from India at the mini dry port daily. Today, not a single vehicle could come. Those vehicles, which are supposed to be transshipped yesterday, are being done today. There were nearly 150 loaders, but after the operation of the mini dry port was outsourced and mechanized, only 20 of them stayed back. As per the loaders, the machines are taking more time than the loaders. 12 loaders left the mini dry port yesterday. With machines taking longer time and lesser loaders at the dry port, it is taking more time to clear the vehicles from the mini dry port.
Pache hema bewachro mi disugi chab the rate ase high yudi bere gari disu mapale na luni mila yalama score na omi gari disu gari kamchi khichi sumchube onde bere koi nani nimchi gora chab betamila te da tarna ba mishingi chabi se bebe begale de khacha khanimle ngache na disila khanim tere yalama gari tombe na da ke toro nale tombe ya jo tore na ani beoda nimsung sore jo bere ngagi bewachini taro hema migi chabdo migi chamidra thabese no mila
Kanim wang dili wang na lot lemba kanim ya di dele scott na khasa duba na o doro lot chap ma soba doro khasa ya jo doro dari wang be cham chi lot chap chila lebar gara ya suno su dele lebar ati kam du se ani be problem ya sila.
The operation of the mini dry port was outsourced to reduce the loading and unloading charges, reduce time to clear goods and commodities, and smoothen the trade. But it did not go as intended. According to the loaders, they received a call from customs officials to again work in mini dry port from tomorrow as usual. For Sonam Penjo in Fencelink, Sringzam, PBS News.
The export of boulders, stone aggregates and minerals from the Amochu area in Fencelink is expected to increase. The exporters now have a designated boulder export containment zone that will facilitate the trade amid the COVID-19 situation.
The containment zone will cater to all the exporters of boulders, stone aggregates and minerals. Despite resuming the export of the material since mid-September, without a containment facility, the business could not pick up as expected. The trade was interrupted since the gates were closed in March.
His Majesty granted us 8 acres of land to construct the containment zone here, which will bolster the export of boulders, mines and minerals. Once the exporters bring in their materials here, they will not have to visit other places for getting the clearances. We hope this service will enhance the materials export.
To mitigate the risk of COVID-19 transmission, the area has a CCTV surveillance system, separate holding areas, toilet and canteen for foreign drivers.
We have a weighbridge here. We also have an office for the customs and forest officials and the clearing agents. The area has a capacity to accommodate 250 to 300 vehicles, and we spent 16.5 million ngitam to develop it.
Even if exporters have to work at night, there are facilities such as floodlights efficiently put in place here. And another advantage of the location of this containment zone is that there are many mining sites nearby, and it would be easier to bring the materials here before exporting them. Since the export resumed in September, boulders, stone aggregates and minerals worth over $10 million were exported to Bangladesh. Similarly, the export to India accounted for worth more than 48 million newton. Sonam Penjo for BBS News, Fencelink.
Unlike past years, this time the highlanders of Merak Gewok in Tashigang are struggling to sell their dairy products, butter and fermented cheese. The access to their biggest market across the border in Tawang, India is temporarily restricted due to the COVID-19 situation. And in the local market, the demand for the products is relatively lesser. These stocks of butter and fermented cheese in one of the houses in Merak are a sign of how the business has stalled for the highlanders. And without a proper storage facility, butter is getting spoiled.
We have not been able to sell our butter stocks for 8 to 9 months now. We have stored at least 15 kilograms of butter in a bag. Without buyers, it is getting damaged. Butter starts to smell when stored for long and it gets rejected.
Some 2 months ago, with the government's intervention, around 10,000 kilograms of fermented cheese were sold to Tawang following the safety protocols. About 1,500 kilograms of butter were also supplied to the local markets. But the one-time arrangement was not enough to clear the accumulated stock. According to the highlanders, the situation will become more challenging soon. The calving season of their cattle is approaching and the milk production will increase.
If the pandemic does not subside, we hope the government and the district and Geog administrations will look into our problem and at least make it better than how it is now.
The Geog office is already in discussion with the district administration to facilitate marketing the dairy products if the COVID-19 situation does not improve.
We are discussing the option to keep some budget to support those interested in reaching the products till the market. To start such a business, people need initial capital investment. And so, we are looking at how we can spare that money from our fund.
The Regional Agricultural Marketing and Cooperatives Office in Mongar is also willing to intervene. Butter and fermented cheese are the main sources of income for the Highlanders of Merak. For Sonam Darge in Tashigang, Pupkiem for BBS News. The COVID-19 containment measures such as border closure, zone demarcation and travel restrictions are taking a toll on the lives of people, especially those living along the border areas. For the people of Hariu Muga of Gakiling, Geok and Sapang, the protocols cost them access to their closest market, which is Tsirang. The locals are denied entry into the neighboring district since Sapang is a red zone. Hariu Muga, with 20 households, is around 6 kilometers away from the demarcated red zone at Darachu. And though the village falls under Sarpang, it is convenient for the people to travel to Tsirang than to Gelifu and Sarpang to buy essentials. The journey to Tsirang takes only 90 minutes, half of what it takes to reach Gelifu.
It is convenient traveling to Tsirang, but in the current situation, we have to stay in quarantine for a week in Gelifu, paying 1,000 Newton per day if we visit Tsirang.
Our Geok falls under Sarbang district, but it is easier for us to travel to Tsirang hospital. For years, we have been visiting the hospital.
These days, getting a ride till Sarbang is difficult. Actually, it is convenient for us to travel to Tsirang, but we have no choice. We have to go to Gelifu because entry into Tsirang is restricted.
However, for now, there is no other alternative to the problem. The people of Hariu Muga will have to follow the protocols, although inconvenient. They can only hope and pray that the COVID-19 situation subsides. For Kamongdi in Sarpang, Pupkiem for BBS News. That's all we have for you for this week. Thank you for watching.